All right, let me just set this up. Create this announcement, and we will start the game here. Maybe I should start at the 3-3 point. I don't know. I actually don't know how to play this well. I'm going to do this anyways. I usually don't do this because I don't know how to... I don't really know a follow-up move with starting at the 3-3 point. It's not one I like to do all that much. But you gotta learn, you know. You gotta learn. I've actually seen some of the Josekis from the 3-3 point, and I honestly don't like the Josekis from the 3-3 point. Honestly, do not like the Josekis from the 3-3 point. They're a little bit weird. This is more of a... This Joseki, when black takes it, is more of an influence play. Than anything else. It's not bad, but you do have to know how to use the influence in the end. That's the wrong move. Letting me do this first. This move is too repetitive. This move is like a little too repetitive. You definitely need to take, at this, you definitely like, instead of d6, you definitely need to play e4. There's problems if I just do this, actually. I don't know if I should have done that, honestly, but I don't think that's a good move either. I probably should have just played like... Actually, I probably should just play like b5 or something like that. But it is... But this is actually quite problematic for... See, like, this is bad because now you have to fix this and I get this. After you do this, you should try to crawl this down here. Like, cutting this gives, like, huge problems. Cutting this, just, like, this cut move gives huge problems for black. Giving up these two is not acceptable, by the ways. So, like, black essentially loses out both ways. That is, like, quite possibly the worst move you could do here. I don't really need these two anymore, but still, like, that's definitely not good. Your influence is very limited. I get way too much territory. I'm gonna definitely do this. Like, you're giving up a lot of this side. So the Joseki obviously did not work well for him. I'm also going to play this side. That's why I don't like this move. It's weird because I don't know of a follow-up move. I guess like just playing 4-4 would be okay, but I don't really like that either. He does get this influence, but like giving up this much territory is just not really acceptable. Let's take the easy path there. Don't pincer. Definitely trying to get this kind of like influence here. But the problem with this is like I can just grow this territory and my territory will just be bigger. And plus I can take advantage in a lot of other areas. You need to Hane this one. Like 100% you need to Hane this one. You're flattening out your territory way too much. That's definitely a pincer. I still have territory down here. I'm not really that worried. I don't really know what that move was for. Yeah, see, the problem with this is like you might be destroying some of my territory here, but you're already like you're also giving up so much of your influence over here that there's like it's not a win for black. That's the real problem. This is not a win for black. The thing is like he's trying to destroy all my territory, and that's perfectly fine. But the issue is he doesn't really have any territory himself. I remember, like, in Go, you have to have more territory than the opponent. If you don't have more territory than the opponent, you still don't win the game. So, like, I have this territory on the bottom now and this territory on here on the bottom. And the thing is, like, he needs to somehow figure out how to get that much territory overall. And it's a lot of territory for him to actually get. So I don't see how he actually manages this. Because he doesn't have any territory right now. Remember, like, I didn't try to kill this group because I don't need to kill everything in order to win the game. I just need to have more territory than he does in the end. Yeah, like you're giving me all this bottom territory and you're going to have to get enough on the middle territory to actually make up for it. And I just don't really see how that's remotely possible for him right now. Because, like, this head is already out, so this territory here is limited. Plus, I can always just play. Plus, I can always just play B13. Plus, I can always just play B13. So. Yeah, you're giving me the entire corner. That obviously doesn't really work. Like, there's just not enough territory on the board for him to actually win now at this point. There's actually not enough territory left on the board, I don't think. You do have to be aware of like the potential, like how much potentially territory you can make. Like playing this way, like his group isn't that weak here. He has these moves like he actually has these moves like Q10 or like Q11 to make it sort of work. But at the same time, like even that's kind of difficult. For this move, like you need to play J17 because if you don't, I'm gonna do this, and then essentially I get all of this. The whole point of this was to cut off these three stones and attack these three stones. So J18 is pretty crucial. This really doesn't matter all that much. Actually, that was probably a bad move. That was probably a bad move. I'm just gonna do this because he can't connect. I'm just gonna make sure that this is okay. That was I mean, I guess that is somewhat necessary. Then go down here. And you see like the potential of this territory is here. But if I just like go here, that decreases the potential of this territory a lot. So in this rare case, I might have actually just cut because like you're behind by a lot, so you need to try to start do something. But even if he got all this territory, he'd still be way behind. So I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna take this. There's quite a lot down here. I do need to fix this, I think, just to get rid of that possibility. Like I can let him get some territory in here. Like you could play K10 and then maybe like play yeah, maybe play that after K10 and try to like get this territory in here. But there are a lot of problems. There are a ton of problems with that. Here, I believe it's just best not to do anything and just curl this way to flatten out this territory. Probably just do this. Get some of that corner stuff. I can't get the wraparound, so kind of sucks, but whatever. And then there's some potential for territory here for him. So you would just jump and reduce the potential for this territory. And also, like, you want to increase the potential for your own territory while reducing the potential for his. It's a little dangerous, but not really. I do need to protect down here. He can cut, but this is more or less gonna not die, so I'm not really afraid of that. It is no good. That leaves this open. This particular move isn't that big. You could fight the Ko with him. I don't think I really have to, but it's all right. That's Sente, so I think I'm going to do this. This is actually fairly large. There's a couple of there's a couple of moves like this I want to do. There's nothing there, but I guess I will do that. No, that's giving me way too many points. You need to play S15. Definitely need to play S15 there. So this is like giving me Sente as well. And that leaves open for like, this move is very, very big. Guys, please hit the likes and subscribes. That would help me a lot. It's like just taking advantage of moves in the end game now. Yeah, this is actually okay now. This is actually Sente because there's a problem here. There's a couple points here, but there's not that many, I would say. You'd probably play this first. I would have to answer this. Um, no. You would block this. I don't think there's anything here. At least not as of yet. I'm gonna go ahead and I think push one more. Get some points here. And he does need to repair this. I mean, he didn't need to do it right then, but he was eventually going to have to. I don't think that was a very big move at this point. There's other bigger moves, definitely. That being one of them. This he does have to block. Get quite a few points in the center eventually. Like he ended up with just this amount of points right here in the center and this amount. So the side that he gave up is like really, really big. The side that he gave up is like way too big. I mean, there weren't any real fights in this game, but I'm probably up by like 60 points, if not maybe around 60 points. Just by capitalizing on like small mistakes. Obviously, this was a pretty big mistake by him right here, but I'm up probably like 60 points just by capitalizing on like smaller mistakes. And I actually think like watching this type of game, like in terms of overall play, will help you a lot more than if I play some like really awesome Tsuji, because this is like these are like basic skills. These are like basic Go skills. that for anyone that actually wants to advance in rank, this is essentially like these are going to be more important. Like just noticing, just kind of like reading basically like which move is bigger, which move are smaller. If you can get enough of a lead, you can actually force your opponent into like unfavorable fights, and you will win most of those fights, assuming two people of equal rank. So like the shape recognition is incredibly important in actually playing good Go. Take the advantages that you can actually see first, because this is like playing here. He has to fix that would be bigger than taking this stone. Endgame sequencing is pretty important when the game is close, and I'd be paying a lot of attention to. Do I need to answer that? I don't think so. I'd be paying a lot of attention to endgame sequencing if this was like a really close game, because it actually does matter quite a lot. If the game is determined by a couple points, which a lot of games between even level players are. The higher up you go in rank, the closer the games get. So stuff like this becomes very important at that time. So if you actually look at the number of points each side has, essentially like this stuff in the middle plus this group on the side is basically equal to pretty much all the territory that he has. And I basically win by this piece and this piece over here. I think that's about correct in my accounting. I'm not 100% sure. But I think that's like my basic count. Like this plus this in the middle equals pretty much all the territory that he has. And then like this, my margin of victory is like this here plus this here. And that's all by capitalizing on one mistake here, and then just playing the game more efficiently. Anything there? No, I don't think there's anything there.
Pass.
I'll review this game and then I'll probably play one more game after this one.
Remove the dead stones.
Yeah, see, margin, I was actually up by like 80 points, but it's about what it is. So, like, the 80 point difference, like, obviously, probably like 10, 15 points was here. I'd say like 20 points is here, but the rest of the difference is
You
actually.
have won.
The rest of the difference is there. So, this is obviously the first mistake. You absolutely have to play this. So, the Joseki that I know, I think is a little bit outdated. It might be a little bit outdated, but this is generally like the Joseki that that you're supposed to do. Essentially, black gets this influence to develop, and white gets some bottom territory. So that's what you're actually supposed to do. Starting with this is pretty bad because you can't do this because the cut, like, there's just really no good way to deal with this. Wait, hang on. If you do this, like, I'm going to extend out, and then I'm going to do this first. You have to connect, and then, like, white already is settled, and then black has a bunch of weak groups. So basically, like, this is a bad move. Like in terms of this, you probably have to extend anyways, and so you can see now that it's a lot of it could be the same Joseki, but except like but instead of like black getting sente, it's white getting sente now, and that one move makes a lot of difference in the beginning. So you do have to play this, and then just go with this, and that is a pretty good Joseki for black. Against a stronger player, might not be as good because like you're not quite as good as using the influence, but that's like even like in an even game, that's actually a good Joseki right there. So this is fine. So after this, you Hane out. I feel like you pretty much have to crawl the bottom because you need to make this live down here. Doing this, then letting me do this, that's Sente. So if you connect here, I'm gonna get this for free. And obviously you don't really, black doesn't get anything, white gets a lot of territory, so that's not good. But that's an even worse move because you don't fix this thing here, and plus I get this for free anyways. And plus I probably should have just gone this way, honestly. I think that way would actually benefit me more than what I actually did. I actually made a mistake. I should have just gone this way because then you'd have to do this. I can do this, and then I would probably just do this way. I get all of this. These two are weak. This group is not complete, and white would actually gain way more advantage this way. Playing like this, I actually let you surround the top. I feel like you almost have to do this at this point. Or you could like, if you're like, this is okay, but like, if you're gonna play this way, you just play this. Because if you honestly, if you play that, I can ignore you. Like if you play this, I'm gonna go ahead and go through with the Joseki. Then you don't have to, I mean, you could play this, or you could just play this way and try to develop your influence this way. That would still be problematic for you, but at this point, I would give up that stone, obviously, and just try to build this way. So I'm going to just come up this way. Like I said, I'm pretty sure you should do this. I'm going to come up this way, connect, and then I'm going to go here. And the thing is, like, I've already taken your corner, and even if you expand the middle territory and I get this, white's going to win this one. So that's fine. Go here. See, the thing is, like, when you play this, what you're doing is, like, you're saying, I want this middle territory here. Here, like, this wouldn't be bad. This would probably be better as well. Here, I mean, like, here I just, like, if I was black, I might just do something like this to build up over here, because this is like the empty space here, so playing here would actually be pretty big. Or like, before playing any of this, play this first, because most likely white's going to answer with this. Maybe even play this, because if white doesn't answer, you can always just double Hane here. So if you do, like, after you trade this with this, and then you do this, now it looks completely different. This is much thicker. Yes, you're giving up more territory down here, but if you're going to play the influence, you would probably just play it this way too. But I still think this is necessary no matter. This move is necessary no matter what for black. You would 100% Hane this. This is just too passive. And it lets white do this. Even if white does this, you're not in a good position. So you're losing quite a lot of influence and potential here, because the difference between this, the territory you can get from this, and the territory you can get from this is pretty big. So you would definitely Hane this one. And plus, like, if I Hane, you would just double Hane, and then that would force me here, and then some of your territory is already kind of like made here. So that's what you actually need. Like, this is not a good move. That's fine. I'm gonna pincer, go that way. See, notice how I'm not trying to kill these two stones. I'm trying to settle my own group over here. I know that I already got a lot of territory here and a lot of territory here, and he's not going to be able to break all of it. And if he breaks up the points down here, that's still okay for me, which is essentially what he did. That's not a good move. If you're going to invade, just go ahead and directly invade. I wouldn't be able to kill you anyways. This is not like... This move, like, it might feel like you're destroying my territory down here, but it kind of like makes these moves of yours kind of pointless because like you're pushing me out into the moyo that you built up, and you're destroying the whole purpose of like all these moves here. Remember in Go, you're like eventually you have to have a plan. Your moves have to work together. The reason the reason that the AI
Challenge
is so
received.
good is because like he plans like 40 moves in advance and all his moves work together very well. And as you go up and play as you play higher ranked players, you will notice that like all their moves basically like you will notice that like all their actual moves sync up a lot better than the moves that you're playing. So like the thing is, I'm okay with trading this because A, I'm already way ahead, and B, like yes, you're trading like a destruction of some of my territory for some of the destruction of your territory, but you spent more moves building up this, and I already have a lot more solid territory here, so I'm okay with this. So I'm not gonna try to kill you. I'm just gonna force I'm going to force this way on you, right? Obviously, like, yeah, sure, I let you break my territory here, but I got all this territory underneath already, and I got this. So I already got a lot of points. Black really doesn't have too many points besides this corner. So, like, that's why white's so far ahead right now. So here you would either, so that's not a good move. You would either pincer this way or pincer this way. One of the two. I don't know which one I would do right now. I would probably pincer this way just because this one stone could be kind of weak. Get the 2 extension and then see what else happens in there. Because when you do like when you're playing up top, you're basically saying that look, I'm going to give you the bottom territory in exchange for the upper influence. And that's problematic because like I have a head right here, so the upper influence probably isn't going to be worth all that much. Plus like I have this right here, so I will gladly just take whatever you give me. So like here this is actually fine, but if you're gonna do this, like you would immediately do this. Here I would probably play like this, then you have to do this, and then I would probably extend this way. It's not great for black, but it's like you would do this, I would have to do this, and then you might just try to attack these 3 stones or something like that, or maybe like here. It's definitely not great for black, but in this type of situation, it's probably what you would actually play. You are giving up this corner, but you have a potential of killing these stones. You would almost have to play this way at this point. So you do eventually do this. That's obviously a mistake, but the thing is, like, this is another disconnect where your moves don't really align together all that well. I do this, right? So you know that like if you don't Hane or if you don't play J18 and I Hane, I kill those 2 black stones. So basically, like if I kill those 2 black stones, then like your influence is extremely limited and I get a lot of territory. So you would have to play this. You absolutely have to play that right now. I could play this and then jump out, but then you can try to attack me here after that. But so the thing is like playing this means like, hey, I can just kill those stones, which means like you just gave me a lot more territory down here, and maybe you get some influence in return. Sure. I don't know how you would actually play this. Actually, probably something like this, but that's not that good either. I mean, there's just all sorts of problems with like trying to get this influence. So like the thing is like you have to understand. You have to understand back to this invasion. Like when you play up top like this, you're basically saying I'm going to give white this bottom territory in exchange for upper influence. So that's how you were forced to go into the center. Like I said, pincering on each side would be much better than going up top. So yeah, here I go here. You don't need to connect that right now. Here I'm going to just take advantage of this. Here you would just connect. I think like the connection would be the best. The second best would be this, and then like this is probably the worst way to actually repair this because it still gives me the clamp, and the Hane on the bottom is still really bad. So So I'm going to play here to destroy this territory. And like I'm going to play here to destroy this. I'm going to play here to destroy this territory. I wonder if this is just better doing this, because I guess not, because you can't really do anything about this. So yeah, you do have to repair this. Then I'm going to destroy this territory. That's unnecessary. You know, here I might even think about doing this, because you're behind by a lot, so you need to take it any advantage you can get. White's actually in a pretty bad position right now, because, you know, yeah, white can come up this way, but if I go up this way, like, still, like, the points that you're getting from here is going to be greater than what you're getting from here. So I would probably cut at this point if I was black. Coming this way is fine. I'm going to do that because, like, there's a lot of solid territory here. You would actually do something like this if you wanted to make this territory. But there's just, like, because of stuff like this, there's just not much territory to actually be made. So building the wall isn't really all that helpful right now. And also, like, I was kind of afraid of this because you do have this on the bottom. I guess you can't live, so I guess I shouldn't have done that. 'Cause, I didn't read that carefully enough. Like, I guess you can't live, so it doesn't really work. So I shouldn't have done that. But either way, like, I think before you do this, you should do this first if you're doing that, and then maybe just, like, go ahead and do this, like, because I think this is actually well built enough for you to actually do that, because you can get more territory here. Because remember, like, black's move here is generally Sente. So this might actually work in getting you more territory like this. Or even, like, if you're doing, even if you're doing this, like here, you could actually do that first. I would probably go here, and then this would actually get you probably a lot of territory. Because remember, like, this is still, like, kind of a Sente move, so you could just go over and do something like this and play the Ko with me. That might actually, well, I guess not, because there's this. But then you can take this and you would actually destroy a lot of territory that I built here. So there's a lot of trades. You actually need to think of trading like that once you're in this situation. So, like, those are some of the things that you can actually, those are some of the moves you can actually think about getting Sentes and getting the territory. Because right now, like, I'm limiting you to maybe like 15 points here. At this point, the game is already over. The rest of it's just closing moves, and the closing moves are very important. You should always try to keep Sente and see what advantages you can get. But those are some of the major mistakes during that game. So I'm going to play one more game. I'll actually wait like 10 minutes to see if anyone accepts this game. If no one accepts within 10 minutes. Oh, there we go. All right, we got another game. All right, your turn. I'll play the 4-4 this time. Okay, hope he doesn't disconnect. There's not a connection problem there. 'Cause finding another game sometimes is kind of difficult, honestly. It's the one problem with OGS. Like, finding games a lot of times is very, very difficult. Cross 3. Because there's not enough players on OGS. Here, I'm going to... Well, actually, no, I'm just going to do this. I was thinking about the knight's move down, which is fine as well. You should definitely play something in the corner before doing that. I'm going to go ahead and hit this. Leaving the opponent with a 2-space jump is kind of advantageous for white. Because it originally was supposed to be a 3-space jump. So we're going to do this on this side. Later on there is R17, but that's not something you would actually play right now. See, like you're doing this on this particular side, but now instead of a 2-space jump, I get a 3-space jump, which is going to be better than a little bit better positioning than your 2-space jump. That's okay, but just playing a nice move on the corner is going to be better overall. I think your potential is a little bit limited because I already have stones over there, but it's actually fine. Usually you would play O2. Because right now if you don't play anything, it's still not completely complete. But if you played O2, then it'd be more complete. But now it is Gote for you, and I'm going to pincer over here. Okay, I'm not going to let him get the block, so I'm going to do this. He is building some influence over here. I will give him that. But he generally does have to answer this because this is not complete either. That's a really bad way to answer. It honestly doesn't make too much sense to answer that way. Yeah, letting me come out is really bad. It breaks up your entire formation. This group is still weak, and now like the influence that you're building over here is not really worth anything. About books, I don't really read books. It's like I had a good teacher in my dad. So it was just repetitively playing games and see how it worked and seeing how things actually worked out. Like in-game experience will generally in-game experience will generally trump like reading a bunch of books. Like there are certain ways to deal with invasions. Like a lot of times with invasions, you don't actually have to kill the invasion. I think that's one thing that I see a lot of players miss. Like in a lot of invasions, you don't actually have to kill the invasion. I think people always think that you actually have to kill the invasion for to counter the invasion and be successful. That's definitely not true. You do not have to you don't have to kill the invasion a lot of the time. I don't think this invasion's that successful for me actually. This is actually a pretty crappy invasion. I probably would have haunted this though. Letting me come out here is definitely not good for him because it also like the thing is like when you're actually surrounding someone and letting them live down here, you're basically trading your territory for influence. And in this case, like he didn't really get the influence because I got out. He doesn't have the same invasion over here. I already have these two stones set up. I want to solidify this corner here. But I do actually think this is going to be bigger. That's not going to work. Okay, I'm just going to connect this because I'm pretty sure you can't live that corner. I already have these 2 stones here. This invasion is actually supposed to work, I believe, but he just played it wrong. But it's not the same as my invasion over here because my stones are a little bit more connected together. That I'm not going to respond to. I'm going to do this because there was a kind of like a B12 invasion, but this kind of kills that. It's one of the few times I will. That's probably a bad actually. Oh, really? All right, I'll just do this. I would have played this probably, but the reason I did that was so I'm actually growing my influence over here, as you can see. These kind of moves in general. I don't actually know which one I should go. I'll just do this. These kind of moves in general are very damaging unless you have potential to make a great shape over there, because he has like invasion possibilities now here, whereas he didn't really have them before. But remember, there is still the K2 move, so he needs to be careful as well. Definitely that first. So I would have probably played J9 because you can see like how my territory just came together there, right? And by the way, this is actually how you make center territory. Like I didn't give that much effort, but I made like 20, 30 points. You have to take advantage of like certain moves. You have to take advantage of like moves like this. Yes, and you have to calculate what you're giving up. I did give up a solid probably 10 points here, but I was actually able to make up for all of it. So that's how you would actually that's how you're supposed to actually make territory. A big territory like this. This doesn't really work, so I have this.
You have won.
So let's actually go back and review this game. Like that's actually how you make that middle territory. And yes, like I said, there is like this invasion here. So I did actually give up a lot here. I did actually give up a lot here because he does have this invasion here on the corner, but I still got this territory. So let's actually go back and review this. this is like either this or this would be the right move. This is generally okay for me because him coming up, he only gets a 2-space jump, and the 3-space jump is more ideal. So I get the nice 3-space jump. That is an okay move, but generally this is like if you're gonna move over here, this is gonna be better because it actually puts pressure on this group here. Otherwise, you would just otherwise you would probably just play something like this, which is what I would do actually. So I'm going to invade here. This is fine. Like I said, this is ideal. This is definitely better than this. This is a bad move. I feel like at this point you would probably just ignore this, but it's not complete. Like, because white can make this move and then jump, but at this point, like I would say this is bigger than any of those. So and the thing is, like, if you were to repair this, you would definitely do this over this. So I'm going to pincer. That really doesn't make any sense because you just let me come up. Even in this situation, you have to block. You absolutely have to block. Because if you don't block and you let me like burst your entire territory, like you're completely destroying the purpose of all these stones down here. So you absolutely have to block this. And the thing is, like, if you block this, it's not like I can do much right now. I mean, I can do that, but that has like such huge problems. So like, the thing is, like, it's bad. It's really bad because the push. It's really bad right now because the push essentially like makes the shape look really bad. Not because I can do anything critical right now. So that's why this is actually a bad move. But letting me come up is by far worse than the other thing. So like after this exchange, like white is way ahead now because you have a weak group here. You didn't get much here, and white actually has Sente. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You pincer here. This is actually a good, this is a good move because it's hard to answer for black. Because if black answers like this, white can just jump like this, and it's just kind of hard to deal with. So that's an easy, like this shoulder hit is an easy invasion route for white. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. He's gonna go here. I'm gonna extend here. He's gonna connect. I'm going to extend. I guess like this jumping is better. This jumping is definitely better. I'm gonna extend here. Yes, this is the best move. Because this pincers, I'm not alive down here. I don't have many eyes. So this actually forces me to run out. So this, like, white still has a ton of pressure on his stones. If I do this, you can just do this, honestly. And there's really, like, this is just very bad for white. Yes, white can live down here. But this is generally not very good for white. You have a lot of thickness on the outer end here. So yeah, definitely like a wrong play by me. So that's why you want to pincer and take away his eye space. You really want to pincer and take away his eye space. Coming up here, letting me get this gets me a little bit more settled. Once again, I guess this is okay. Coming up, doing that. There's no need to do this. Your group's not under any kind of threat. And, I mean, there's like 3 points of potential here. So, yeah, if you're going to do this, like, doing this is probably just better. So, come up here. I'm going to do here. I'm going to go here. It was either this move or this move for me. So, I would like to solidify this corner as well. And, yes, there is still an invasion down here. That is a really... I hate that invasion. It's really hard for me to actually deal with. Here, I'm going to go here. So yeah, you would definitely do this first because this is essentially alive. This is essentially alive. So like the way you invade here is you do Hane this first, but then you play here. No, not here. Then you play here first. If I actually cut this, then you have plenty of room to like over here to, make eyes and stuff. So you would actually be alive over here. You can't connect. If you connect, I'm going to jump down and you're essentially just dead. So the reason I actually did this is because like I am hoping to solve, because without me doing this, you do have without me doing that, black can play b12, and that's like in the future, that's a really, really hard invasion for white to actually counteract. So me covering this is basically covering that issue as well. And then like, of course, black doing this is even better for me because this invasion just gone. You can still do this. It's kind of like a hard answer for white. White essentially like either does this or connects, one of those two. It doesn't really serve much purpose, but it does demand an answer. So, you know, this I feel like isn't really worth all that much right now. It's very narrow, and I can always come up over here. So, and here you're not putting any pressure on this group because this is already dead. So there's no pressure on this group. You're basically trying to make the Moyo here, but this is very hard to get territory, and it's just not worth a lot. So I did make a mistake here. I should have just played here and just play like this, I guess, and get some little bit of territory here. So, because playing here, if I was black, I would jump. I would definitely attack the stone. I wouldn't play the passive route. You're taking the territory. Obviously, I'm going to do that. So you can play this way. You give white territory here, but at this point, as white, I would definitely take this. That gives me the corner. Oops. What the heck? That does give me the corner. So I mean, like, if you actually did it this way right now, I would definitely take it as white. Because that does give me, like, the corner and a lot of territory. You don't really get too much here because this is very narrow and there's not much potential. So that's not a good option right now. But for reference, if black had a lot of potential over here, like, if you had sealed this off, I would actually take that because then you would get this territory in exchange for my territory over there. So he does this. I'm going to come down. I would actually probably play this because if I don't answer that, it's a little bit harder for white to answer if you do these invasions. But that's also okay. That's not a big deal. I'm going to play this. Yeah, black should play this. There's very little way for white to actually answer that. It's incredibly hard to actually kill this stone. So you do need to invade in the center right now because this Atari isn't really that much of a thing. So that you should still invade in the center. Look, the reason that a lot of times that you don't want people to do Atari is because of shape reasons. But here you can see black has no potential for territory here. So if you play here and white Atari, you could just jump out. White can take this stone, but so what? Like, that stone doesn't do anything. It has very little value because it doesn't threaten black down here. White gets no additional territory, so that stone isn't actually worth very much. So that's why you need to play in here because you're not really afraid of the Atari. The Atari is kind of pointless. So you let me get this. You jump out here. I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to do this. So this is still kind of a thing. Like, you can still break down here. And yes, I will get this territory, but now if you look at it, you can seal. Well, I guess it's still hard to seal here, but you can do something like this and then get like this territory up, sort of get this territory up here. So that's what you should have, that's what black should have done. So like black does have a lot, like black does actually have a lot of influence up here. And if I do this, you can just like kind of do this. So that's not such a big deal. So like black's goal here should be like, yes, I can give white some of this territory here, but in exchange, I should get some of this territory here. You kind of need to be thinking that way. Whereas like if you just play, like I would actually play this move if I was black, because this is very hard for white to block. I mean, if white does that, you can just extend out. Because like, you know, if white pushes, you can always just extend back. You don't always have to block. And it's very hard for white to get the territory here. So obviously playing this and letting me play that, you give me all this territory. And of course, like giving me all that territory, like I can actually just give you the corner and I'd still be way, way ahead. So like that's how I made the center territory, and that's black's mistakes in basically just giving me the center territory. So that's kind of how you make the center territory. You need to think about exchanging. You need to think about like how to make exchanges. And you, like, if you want the center territory, you have to use the advantages that you can get from other places to make the center territory. Like, if I didn't take these advantages over here, there's no way I can make the center territory. And despite me making the center territory, I still give up a lot on the corner here. So, like, there is a trade-off. I probably lost 15, 20 points down here in exchange to making like 30, 35 points here. So it's worth it for me. But there was a way he could actually prevent that, or at least get some of that territory back in this form. So that's the game for today. Hope you learned something. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys next time.